everyone. Following the pressed flowers and leaves that I did, I've been playing with the things that I've made. I haven't got many left. This is pretty much it. Oh, and a few of the hydrangeas as well. Oh, gosh, I was up until 2:30 a.m. this morning playing with this little lot, and aren't they just gorgeous? Look, I've made a card as well. Isn't that just absolutely beautiful? I just love it. So I'm going to show you how I did this, because I just think that this method just helps to stop the flowers and the leaves from falling apart. So let me just show you what I've got. I've got some of these. I haven't done anything with these. This one here was just mounted onto a piece of watercolor paper. I've added one of the little Tim Holtz Chit Chat words, and then I've put some of my red very, very sticky double-sided tape on the back and attached it to a piece of mixed media card, and I just think that looks absolutely wonderful. And I've inked around the edges with my favourite at the moment, iced spruce. I just think that grey is just so subtle and, you know, much nicer for this type of thing than black, which I just think would be way too harsh. So let's just show you what I've got. I mean, just look at that little dinky one there. I mean, isn't that just gorgeous? Oh my goodness me, I just absolutely love these. Single leaves. I know that Monica had asked, you know, do you think that single rose petals or single leaves would look gorgeous? Yes, absolutely. Just look at these. They're gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And look at that one. That's one of the hydrangea petals. I just think these are wonderful, and you know, how lovely to send in happy mail, to attach as a little gift tag, you know, all sorts of ideas. Another single leaf there. These are just gorgeous. I've done some with the little chit chat words and some without. Another one here, single leaf, one of the purple ones. Just love this. Okay, so let's show you how I did these. I'm working on Strathmore cold press watercolour paper. It is 300 grams. Can you see that? I'm not sure I can fit this in. 300 grams, 140 pound watercolour cold press paper. The reason I'm using this is, let me just hold it up close for you. I just absolutely love the texture on that paper. Can you see it? But you can use mixed media paper. My mixed media paper isn't quite as thick. I think mine is 250 grams, but you can see a noticeable difference. That's the mixed media paper. And that's the watercolour paper, and of course, you know, the mixed media paper is much whiter as well, much more bleached, so I quite like the watercolour paper. But just use what you have. Use, you know, heavy cardstock if you've got it. That's absolutely fine. And then I'm just using regular Mod Podge, matte Mod Podge. I want the matte because I just don't like the shine. And what I am going to do, right, so I've got my flower. I'm so excited, you see, I can't talk. I've grabbed my a flower, the flower that I want to glue down, and I've just cut a piece of watercolour paper to fit each, you know, of the individual flowers. So I've got this one here, and then I've got another piece here that will fit this flower. This is just a piece of deli paper, and what I am going to do is, now I just need to decide which way round I want the flower, and in fact I want it that way up because there's more colour, more purple. So I'm just going to apply very gently some glue, some of the Mod Podge matte glue to the back. And you want a nice soft brush for this, because if you use a stiff brush, it would just break your dried flower, and it would just crumble underneath your paintbrush. So just, you know, a really gentle, light touch with this, and you're just applying the glue to the back of your dried flower, like this, all the way down. You know, I've just found that matte Mod Podge is absolutely fine for this. And then I am just going to place my flower onto this piece of watercolour paper, like so. That's absolutely fine. And then what you want is a piece of deli paper. Now, I'm sure this would work with parchment paper too, but I've got a whole box of of deli paper. Hang on, let me just show you. Now, I know that you guys in the US can get hold of these really, really easily. This is Logan wrap, so it is called interfolded waxed paper. I think it's called dry waxed paper. Let's have a look. Just deli wrap interfolded wax paper, and it's 10 by 10, and this is 500 sheets. I can't remember how much this was because I ordered this a long time ago for jelly printing, and you can see by how much I've got left that I clearly didn't do very much jelly printing with it. But I'm sure that you could use parchment paper as well, but you want something clear for this because you just want to be able to see your flowers. And all I am doing is just applying a really generous amount of glue to the deli wrap, and I'm going to sandwich my flower. Let me just check that I'm in shot for you. So which one did I glue down? It was that one there. Right, so just make sure that you've got enough glue to cover the whole of your flower. And then I'm just going to place my flower down like this, and I'm going to fold the deli paper over. I don't need any glue on that side because all this is doing is just giving me a nice clean surface to sort of press it down so that the deli paper on the other side sticks and adheres to the pressed flower. And it holds everything in place, and then you want to flip it over and just really gently then go around the outside of your piece of watercolor paper, and then press down then in between sort of, you know, any petals or branches, little branches like this. Now you could have popped one of the Tim Holtz Chit Chat words in here before you glued it down, but equally you can add it on top as well. That's not a very good example because that leaf didn't turn out too well, or you could add it on top like this. So whichever method you prefer. You know, I just simply forgot this time, otherwise I probably would have added it first. I just quite like the sticker being buried underneath a piece of deli wrap, and as I say, you're just going to press it down just so that it's nice and flat, and then you just need to leave it for a few minutes just to dry slightly. I don't bother with the heat gun, and then just trim around the edges, and then the back of the deli wrap will just peel off. There's no deli wrap on the back of any of this, so let's just set that one to one side for a minute. I'm just going to cut that there so that I can use this other piece, and let's just do this one here. So we're going to do exactly the same thing. Let me just have a look and see which way round I want it. Definitely that way round. So again, I'm just going to apply my glue gently. As I say, I don't want to ruin my dried flower. So there we go, just add that glue. Do you know, dried flowers is something I've wanted to play with for such a long time, and I'm sure I've got a couple in a book somewhere that I did years and years and years ago, but I'm just too impatient to wait for things to dry. So, you know, this method is just absolutely perfect for me. So I am going to add this. I'm just checking which side of the watercolour paper I want to add it to. So, oh, there we go. Just position it in place and just press it down. And then I'm going to do exactly the same thing then with the glue. So we'll add a nice generous amount again, and of course this dries clear, so you know, you won't be, once it's dry you just can't see it. Just make sure that you cover the whole of that piece of deli paper. And this time let's add a little chit chat word. What shall we add? What have I done with them? Where have they gone? Here we go. They're buried underneath the watercolour pad. Now I did see one earlier that I thought would be perfect. In fact, let's just use admire, because that's what I'm doing. I'm admiring my gorgeous flowers. And where do I want it to go? In fact, I think I shall have it there, like that. You know, make sure that you've got it straight. No need to put any extra glue before you glue this down, because of course it's going to be sandwiched between your layer of deli wrap anyway. Pull it out straight as well, just to sort of, you know, get rid of any wrinkles. Fold it over and just, you know, give it a good old rub. You don't need to rub, you know, incredibly hard. So if you've got problems with arthritis or what have you, you know, you'll be able to do this, no problem at all. You're just smoothing it down and then flip it over and just smooth it out around the edges. And then just press down around the bumpy bits of your flower, around those branches. Just really sort of, you know, press it down. There we go. And let's trim that off. And then I just want to do a single flower. Let's just try one of those and see how that looks. Bring my gluey bit back. Right, okay, so I've got a tiny weeny piece of scrap watercolour paper, and this time I am going to use one of these hydrangea petals. And which way do I want it to go? I suppose it will have to go like that. So I'm going to add some glue to the back. Again, just, you know, being really gentle about this. And so Monica, you know, absolutely, those single rose petals I just think would look absolutely gorgeous. There we go. Let's peel it off. And as I say, these are delicate, so just be really gentle. I'm going to break it now, aren't I? No, I'm not. Come on, be positive. There we go. There we are, and then we'll add some glue to the piece of deli paper, making sure that I add plenty because of course I want it to stick down well. There we are. Put it face down and smush. Flip it over. You know, press down over the bumpy bits because of course the stems are a bit bumpy, so you just need to, you know, give it a good press down. Just really press it down around the edges as well, just so that you know, you've got it's all nicely sealed in. Now, these have probably had, oh, I don't know, 10 minutes to dry just while I've been editing the video. And so what I want to do now is just trim around the edges, and you want to try and get as close as you possibly can, just so that it's nice and neat. And because, of course, the watercolour paper is quite thick, it's really easy to sort of, you know, get your scissors up close to that edge. There we go. And then the back piece of deli paper will just peel straight off. And of course, then you've got a really nice clean back to your watercolour paper. And just doesn't that look gorgeous? You don't need those scraps. We'll do exactly the same with these other two. And once I've trimmed these, I'll be back. So I've cut the deli paper around the edges, and that's what they look like. So lovely and clean. You know, the deli paper, just by folding it over, protects the back so that when you're rubbing it down, you're not getting sort of, you know, any marks off your fingers. I just think that makes a big difference. It's definitely worthwhile. So what I want to do is just finish this off now. And how shall we have it? I'm going to stick it this way up. I just really like having the little chit-chat words up like that. Doesn't that look cute? I could probably have added some glue on the back. And then this one here, let's just make a little card. I've added some of my red sticky, double-sided sticky tape. Let's just peel this off. And then I'm going to add a little bit of pritt stick, glue stick to the centre as well, like so. Let's centralise that and glue it down. This is just a scrap of mixed media paper. Let me just have a look. Centralise this so that I can see what I am doing. There we go, glue that down. And then what I think I'm going to do this time is add my chit chat word underneath like that. Then, in fact, I'll use my paper trimmer because I know that if it's wonky, it will bug me. So I think it's probably going to want trimming just there, like that. Yep, perfect. And that's it. I could have added some of the ice spruce around the edge. I meant to, and I just completely forgot. But what we can do is just add some around the outside now, and then we could double mount it, which would look really, really sweet. So I think I'm going to double mount this now onto another piece of mixed media paper, and I'll show you what that looks like. So here we are. Here's some of the bits that I was playing with. That's the card that I double mounted, and I've mounted it again on an ATC size piece of mixed media paper, so 2.5 by 3.5 inches, which is artist trading card size, ATC. Then I've made a little homemade envelope to house it, which I think is really cute, out of craft cardstock. And just how wonderful does that look? I mean, the natural background of the craft paper just looks gorgeous, I think, anyway. And then this one here, this was one of the little mini heathers that I'd mounted, and again I've used the grey spruce around the outside, then I've mounted it onto a piece of white mixed media paper and then onto craft cardstock as well, and I just think that looks gorgeous. This one here is just the sole leaf. There's another one of these buried in my mountain of dried leaves and flowers somewhere. I can't find it, but I've just used the iced spruce just to go around the edges, and I just think that looks really cute. So again, I could mount that onto craft cardstock if I wanted to, or just leave it as it is. And then we've just got these here. These ones are plain. These haven't been inked around the edges, and I just want to show you the difference. So that one's had the iced spruce. These are left plain. So really it just depends on what, you know, what look you like best, but I just think all of these are wonderful. I've made a handmade envelope to go with the card that I made earlier as well. All of my envelopes, including this craft one here, I've made on my envelope maker. So this is the envelope punch board by We Are Memory Keepers. I paid £5 for this at the craft fair that I go to at the Motorcycle Museum, which you know, you keep hearing me go on about, and at the time I had no idea what it was or what it did, but oh my goodness me, this is invaluable to me whilst I've been doing my cards recently. So there you go. I just hope that that's given you some ideas as to how you can use your dried flowers. Guess where I'm heading? I'm straight off into the garden to pick some more whilst it's still dry. So I'm going to be at the ironing board again this afternoon. I just think these are gorgeous. Just love them. So there you go. If you like that idea, I'd really appreciate it, as always, if you would give me a thumbs up, because it just lets YouTube know that you like what I'm doing, and let me know what you think in the comments below. And if anybody else has any other ideas as to, you know, what we can do with these dried flowers, I just think sandwiching them in between deli paper or parchment paper, I don't know whether that will work. I presume it will. Vellum as well is another thing that you could use. Just protects them because they are incredibly fragile, and you know, now you can chuck them around, do whatever you want with, and they're not going to fall apart. So if anybody else has any other ideas, then, you know, let me know in the comments below. So take care everyone. Feel free to share this with your friends as well. I'd really appreciate that, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.